Welcome to Capital Conquest, the podcast, where we take an in-depth look at the influencers who have made and who continue to make Capital Conquest the extraordinary martial arts event that it is. My name is Scott Campsell, and today Hanchi John Tarian and I speak with Shihan Nicklaus Suino. Suino Shihan is a widely published author, having sold over 60,000 copies of his books, including The Art of Japanese Swordsmanship, Practice Drills for Japanese Swordsmanship, and Strategy in Japanese Swordsmanship. In this episode, we talk with Suino Shihan about why not only he studies swordsmanship, but why he also recommends it for others. If you've ever thought about learning about Japanese swordsmanship, or if you're already practicing, this is the episode for you. Even if the thought of picking up a sword is the furthest thing from your thoughts, we know one man who can change your mind, and that man is Shihan Nicklaus Suino.
Sensei Suino, why don't you introduce yourself, and don't be shy. You've got a lot of great things that you've done, and let the listener know who you are.
Well, thanks, Hanchi. I've been a martial arts fanatic since I'm 8 years old. In fact, my Iaido teacher, Yamaguchi Sensei, his wife used to call him Iaido Mushi, which means a nutcase, right? A crazy Iaido person. And I think that's what I inherited from him. You'd think after all these years, I wouldn't be as excited about martial arts as I still am. But like all of us on this call, for some reason, it's an addiction, a healthy addiction. But as of this year, I'll be in martial arts 55 years. I went to Tokyo in 1988 and lived there for 4 years to train in various martial arts, competed on a big stage, did really well, written a few books, and now I run the Japanese Martial Arts Center here in Ann Arbor. We're just blessed, man. It's a great place to be. We get to train every day, and there's a few things I want to learn before I die, so got to get in the dojo more and more.
I hear you. So, Scott, you want to lead into this because just so that you people just hear a voice at the back. Scott Campsell is a very good martial artist. He's got a karate school in Uxbridge, Ontario, but he's also a black belt in Iaido. So, Scott, go ahead, my friend.
Well, it's an honor. We met briefly at Capital Conquest, and I've seen Punch, Kick, Choke, Chat podcasts. It's a great thrill for me to actually, talk to you, even though it's online. So thank you very much for this. I'm going to act like I don't know anything about Iaido and just put it to you. So why would you do Iaido? What is the, all of the different weapons, all the different martial arts? What's your drive for Iaido?
I remember when I first got interested in sword, I was doing a little Aikido. And even then, it was really cool, but I felt like it was undeveloped, that it was broad strokes motions with no detail. And then I was lucky enough to meet my sensei in Las Vegas at a seminar, and I was just stunned. This guy, 5'3" tall, 120 pounds, and he could mesmerize a room. The magnetic personality of this guy, the clean motions, the power. I wish I had a more distinct answer, but I was just blown away by this human being. And so as soon as I saw it, I wanted it. So I started pursuing it and made plans to go to Japan to train with the guy.
It's funny how people fall into different styles of martial arts just based on how good the teacher is. So it may not have to do with the style. So I train with Hanchi Burkowski, so I can totally relate. Yeah, absolutely. Right. But still, you see so much power from drawing and cutting. Why study that? Why not study Tamashigiri or something like that, where you can worry about the actual physical element of the cut? What's the draw, so to speak? What's the draw to drawing?
Yeah, I think more than any other martial art, at least that I've encountered, Iaido takes you inside yourself and forces you to confront your personal development, your own weaknesses, the way you think. Iaido the word doesn't mean swordsmanship. It means being present in the moment. And, we give lip service to that in the other martial arts. We always say it's about personal development. We want to be absolutely present when we're doing the art. For me, Iaido has a way of bringing you to that. So it's very precise. You've got this 3-foot razor blade that magnifies all your mistakes. And the motions are highly geometric, especially from my teacher. His watchword was structure, or as he said, a structure. It was all about getting the body right. The muscles were designed to put the bones in the right place to create power with the skeleton and not with big muscles. And just having that rigorous attention to how you move and how you hold yourself, how you breathe, how you think. It's an incredibly deep martial art. And I think the idea that you're working alone in a room with nothing but a sword just forces you to confront yourself like nothing else I've studied.
So when you're training, are you focusing more on how you feel when you train, or are you still focusing on how that cut is happening or how that draw is happening?
Depends on the moment,
Okay.
right? I mean, you have to put time in on the techniques. You have to put time in on the tactics. These are martial arts. And so we have to remember their martial roots, what they're used for. Hence, we have to be really good at creating power. We have to understand balance. We have to be able to move quickly when it's called for. So you never stop thinking about the tactics, but there are times when you have to reflect on your own mindset, what you're feeling, what you're thinking, what you're seeing when you do it. But clearly you can't do all of that at the same time.
Can you transcend from your Iaido training into your Jiu Jitsu training or your karate training or your Aikido training? Can you relate that to other martial arts?
Yeah, there's definitely similar principles, but the idea that you can move your body in very precise ways, Iaido gives you the opportunity to really get structured, to understand how to move, how to place your hips, your legs. I probably look a little different than other judo guys, and that's because I've been doing Iaido consistently almost every day since 1988.
Was it your first art?
No, I started in judo when I was 8 years old. I've also studied Shorin-ryu and Goju-ryu karate, studied a little Aikido, a little Kung Fu, a little Judo. I'm a nutcase. Don't do what I did. It's too much.
As you're aging, is there one now that you enjoy a little bit more than the other, or is Iaido it as far as the level playing field?
I love them all. I can see myself doing Iaido a lot longer. I still love judo, but I've had to take a lot of the fighting aspects out of judo. The 23-year-old dudes in my dojo can put a hurt on me, and I can't recover very well anymore.
You went to Tokyo in 1988, and there was a competition. You trained hard, you had the right teacher, you were in the right school, and then there was a championship for Tokyo Championship, and you won that 5 times. 5 times.
Four times, Sanchi. 4 times, yes. And I think you described it very well. First of all, I was fanatical, right? Like absolutely overwhelmed with it. Secondly, my teacher was astonishing. And then, of course, none of this happens without hard work. I trained Iaido, unless I had a dislocated shoulder or a broken knee, I trained Iaido 3 or more hours a day for 4 continuous years. I only missed when I couldn't pick a sword up.
That says a lot. I'm looking at your passion, because that's passion when you do 3 hours a day for every day almost. And what lights up your passion? What fuels your passion to do 3 hours a day? Like when I was young, for me, I just loved it. I mean, I did it because I wanted to be better, because I wanted to be a better fighter, because I wanted to learn this, I wanted to learn that. But Iaido is a little bit different. Like if when I was a kid, we'd say, okay, spar. We put the gloves on, we start to fight. I don't think you do that with a sword. That could hurt if I don't block properly,
Sure.
So where does your passion is fueled? It's a beautiful art, but I'm trying to learn more from it.
I think it's a personality type. We have a lot of people come through my dojo. Some people, it's a natural fit to do judo. They're more outgoing. They're more quote unquote athletic. They tend to be more social people. A lot of Iaido people are a little quieter. I guess I'm lucky because I can bridge that gap. I spent a lot of time alone as a kid, in the basement workshop, building stuff, or in the woods, chasing rabbits with a bow and arrow. So for me, being alone in a room with a sword, kind of natural, I would think.
Every martial arts has benefits, from physical fitness to paying attention to developing your mind to friendship, respect. What are some of the different benefits in Iaido?
As we spoke about it in terms of understanding your body, being able to move efficiently and well, using your muscles to move your skeleton into a power position. That's probably the number one physical benefit. But the concentration benefits, at least for me, one of the things Yamaguchi Sensei used to say is there are 5 major motions in Iaido, and each of those 5 motions has 5 aspects. And then he said, and each of those 5 aspects has 5 parts, and each of those 5 parts has 5 elements. And it just goes on and on and on. So when you get yourself good at something, then you have to revisit it and say, okay, what are the details I'm missing? How do I connect these 2 parts? How can I be smoother? How can I breathe better when I do this? So it's just infinitely complex. And I'm a guy with a kind of scattered brain, self-diagnosed ADHD. And so to have something that puts a framework around me and forces my mind to stay in that space is really powerful. It's a transformative experience. And just, I've never had a bad training session in Iaido.
So are you pretty much training yourself now? Do you have teachers that you aspire to learn from?
I have no direct teachers in Eishin-ryu Iaido anymore. I've been looking since my teacher passed away. I have a few mentors in other sword arts that I use for philosophical principles or for generalized knowledge, but I've been unable to find somebody. Listen, when you train with the best person in the world, arguably one of the best swordsmen in the last 100 years, it's really hard to find somebody to follow after that.
You're one of the top teachers. We connected last year. You came to Capital Conquest. You're going to be coming again. And a few weeks ago, you had this big camp. And I was impressed because there were so many new people. And they had the bokken and some had the swords and things were rocking. And I was impressed in a different way. Not impressed about what you know, your knowledge, your teaching abilities, but impressed to see everything. And then we talked. And you told me something. You said, we should have competition. I said, at Capital Conquest this year, we'll have a day of competition. You said, yes, and we should have a Iaido competition. And I went, what is that? How do you do a Iaido competition? How do you set that up? Or how do you gauge who wins, who fight? You don't really fight with the sword. I don't think so.
Well, it's usually a pretty short fight, huh, Chief?
Yeah, you're sliced.
Right.
So tension seems to drop.
Yeah, right. Right. You run out of training partners in one weekend. Iaido competition is a forms competition, right? People demonstrate certain waza in front of a panel of judges, and the panel of judges scores them. So it reminds me of figure skating or gymnastics in a way. There's certain form criteria that are set forward that the participants know about ahead of time. Even if they're training in different styles of Iaido, there's still fundamentals, right? Good movement, good balance, poise, all those kinds of things. It's not easy finding good judges in North America. So, Hanchi, that's something that we're going to have to work together on to find some high-ranking Iaido people that have had some experience in this.
Well, I'm trying to build a team of Iaido people in the World Judo Federation from Europe, from Canada, and you in the States, so I can put them. You can handle them, work with them, share the load, whatever you want to do, because it's such a beautiful art that it's out there. And, before, let's say 20 years ago, I'd go to a training camp, either to teach or train, and I'd see one or two guys walking in with the akama, and they had the sword. Now I see a lot of people walking in with a bokken, not so much akama, but many people with the sword. In Canada, we have some people that have been doing Iaido for a very long time. And I think all they need is to sit around the table and say, let's do something. I light up people if I believe in something, and I believe in you, and I believe in Iaido, and I think that we're going to be able to do something in November. But best moment for you in Iaido?
Best moment?
Or one of.
100% for me, the best moments ever were where I was one-on-one with my sensei at his home dojo, training for 3 hours, doing Iaido and getting corrected. Those were powerful moments. But, the biggest successes were the tournament wins in Tokyo in a room full of 300-400 Iaido, Japanese Iaido practitioners, and being able to walk away with a gold medal. That was pretty powerful. And I know a lot of martial artists have this moment of transformation in their lives where once they realize they can win something, they can truly be the best at something. It transforms everything you do because now it's possible and all you have to do is work for it.
I remember when I won my first trophy, medal, whatever it was, I grew a foot. Walking out of that dojo or that tournament that day, I was going to my car and I was trying to be cool, but when I was alone, and I go, yeah! And maybe it was just that there was no competition for me that day too. So, it was great. Maybe it's not a stupid question, but is Iaido for everybody? Can everybody do Iaido?
Well, I think everybody can try Iaido, and some people, especially people who are lifetime martial artists, should at least spend some time with the sword. I don't see how you can say I'm an accomplished Japanese martial artist. Everybody likes a sword, right? And a lot of us martial artists like to have pictures with a sword or have them hung in their dojo. I think you at least ought to know the basics about how to use it. But there's a cutoff, right? There's a cutoff, and that is people who are passionate about it, that really love the practice. Those are the ones that are going to stay in it for years and get really, really good.
Do you find that's the allure? Is you get people that walk in and just go, oh, well, it's really cool because he gets to carry a sword? Like, is that what your main inquiry is sort of based on?
Among young people, it's almost always people that are interested in anime or Japanese culture. That's what gets them walking in the door. And then among adults, a million reasons. Almost, I would say half the people that come in for adults who come in want to be able to concentrate better. That's like the primary thing they say.
Some people sometimes ask me what direction I should take because of age sometime, or sometime because of certain ability. We did a show recently with Kyoshi Bernie Ladderser, one of my top black belts, and he talked about a kick because he was a police officer, and some techniques, when you train police officers, they got a short period of time, not like martial artists, we have a lifetime. And he says, well, I don't use spinning hook kick because, first of all, I can't kick worth the shit, and stuff like that. But if some people want to do Iaido, is there a certain thing about, from what I see, okay, I think everybody can do it, but there's a certain personality that seems to fit better if you in Iaido than in MMA, for example. What's some of the things maybe I should be looking for if I need to recommend somebody?
Introverts are more natural Iaido players than extroverts. That's probably a key. And then people who, if you see people who can really focus on technique, if someone just wants to go out and fight tomorrow, that's probably not a good candidate, right? There's people that want to improve themselves, that really like they're nerds, right? They like to geek out on technical aspects of martial arts. That's perfect.
Well, in closing, I want to say this, okay? When I do a big event and I work 6 months for it and I work 16 hours a day, especially in the last couple of months, sometimes, you sit back and people say, well, why do you do it? And I'm going to share a secret because you're part of the why now. I line up with the instructor at some point and I look to my left and I look to my right and I say, damn, I'm in great company here, So if you can make that line up with so many great other people, I think it is what we live for. Listen, over good food, good wine and music and fun and laughter, life is beautiful. When you put on your gi, life is just as beautiful. My friend, Suino Sensei, somebody wants to contact you. How do they go about it?
Have them reach out to the Japanese Martial Arts Center in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and I'll be the one that sees their contact.
Well, thank you, my friend. And whatever you do, never stop. Keep pushing it forward and passing it forward. We love you for that. And when we get to my 100th birthday, we're going to have a few good laughs of all the many good peoples you produced. Thank you.
100%. Hachi, Sensei, great to talk to you. Take care.
Bye.
Capital Conquest will be happening November 3rd, 4th, and 5th, 2023. For more information, you can go to our website at www.capitalconquest.org or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/capitalconquestwkf. This has been a Capsule Broadcasting production. So many one-liners. Okay, here we go. Shihan Suino is a cut above the rest. And there were so many points exposed in that interview. I'm not sure how good this episode was, but we definitely took a good stab at it. Seriously, there are so many more, but I'll cut it out.